Hello, newbie primary. It seems like it's been a very long time. What with some other videos. Don't forget, check out the flower dissection with Clara. And mums and dads, check out the e-safety advice and help. So here we go. Chapter 5 of Toto, the Ninja Cat and the Great Snake Escape. There were no street lamps in the zoo, so only the moon and stars lit up the cold night sky. The cat stuck to the shadows as they tiptoed past the African bird safari and the gorilla kingdom. Toto didn't fancy coming face to face with a huge silverback gorilla, even though Catface had assured her they actually posed no danger to a little Italian cat. Better safe than sorry, thought Toto as they skirted round the bend. Then, looming out of the darkness, there it was, the entrance to tiger territory, marked by a wooden arch emblazoned with a picture of a tiger. Its hard stare seemed to be looking right at them. "Here we are," said Catface in a small voice. "Let's do this. Then we can find Silver and get out of here." "Catface, how exactly should we do this?" Toto asked. "Well," said Catface, "if by some miracle we don't get torn to shreds in the next 30 seconds, I suggest we show respect by making sure we're lower than them. And bow. They like bowing." "That shouldn't be too hard," Toto replied as she jumped up onto the roof of the enclosure. "They're going to be quite a lot bigger than us." Catface was struggling to jump high enough. He's really bad at jumping for a cat, thought Toto. But he did have that big meal out of our bins earlier, plus all the food on our tour of London. Perhaps he's still a bit full. Eventually, Catface made it onto the roof. Then they both jumped down as silently as possible into the long grass and started walking slowly through the undergrowth. After a minute or two, they heard something, faint at first, but getting louder as they drew closer. "Strange," whispered Catface. "Doesn't sound like a tiger." "That's because it isn't. It's Silver!" Toto set off at a run through the undergrowth until she reached a clearing. She could just about make out Silver clinging to the top of a giant pole. "What are you doing up there? Get down now!" Toto hissed. "Have you any idea how dangerous this is? Don't you know where you are?" "Yes." "Thanks for stating the obvious, sis," Silver called down. "I'm really sorry. I just saw the raw meat up here and went for it. I didn't know it belonged to, them." He gestured behind Toto and Catface with his paw. They both turned, knowing full well what was behind them, but praying that Silver might just be mistaken. "Keep cool," Toto told herself. "You're a ninja, remember." Silver wasn't mistaken. Hungry, yes. Greedy, a bit. Foolish, definitely. But there was nothing wrong with Silver's eyesight. Toto could make out two enormous shadows in the moonlight, stalking slowly and deliberately towards them. The tigers broke through the long grass and stood majestically before them, two sets of bright, fiery eyes shining in the darkness. Now might be a good time to bow," said Catface. Toto swept one paw and stooped low, as if she was bowing in front of the Queen. "Let me handle this little one." Catface cleared his throat, took off his hat and made a grand gesture as he bowed. "All hail the King and Queen of London Zoo. We come here to beg an audience and ask for your help to find Brian, the escaped King Cobra, who threatens all animals in London. We believe he came this way and wanted to inquire if your highnesses are aware of his whereabouts on this very night of which I speak." Ahem. The tigers said nothing. They just stared. "Do you think it's working?" whispered Catface. "I'd like to say yes, but right now I'm sort of thinking no," replied Toto. Tough gig this. I say, do you know any tricks?" Before Toto could answer, the larger of the two tigers spoke up in a low, commanding growl. "Small, insignificant felines, you dare to come into our homes to steal our food uninvited. Animals have been torn apart for less." Toto and Catface looked up at Silver. How do you do?" Silver began. "Yeah, that was me, I guess. Sorry, I just saw this big slab of meat on top of the pole. What is it, by the way? Dear, it's delicious. And I went for it. Didn't know whose it was. Any chance you could let me off with a stern warning?" "And what," bellowed the other tiger, "makes you think that we, JJ and Malati, should care about you and your kind? Brian, the king cobra, always shows us respect and passed through here earlier with our blessing. The animals of the zoo are our priority, not the common folk that live outside." "Now look here," Catface said furiously, taking a step toward the enormous cats. "I know you are the king and queen of the zoo and what have you, but let me tell you, there are some smashing animals out there, and I, for one, will not stand by and let them get eaten by Brian. And, heaven forbid, Brian's future kids." Toto and Silver looked at each other. Had Catface gone mad? They were doomed. The tigers said nothing for a minute, just stared. "I do wish they'd stop doing that," thought Toto. Then the tigers nodded slightly to each other and slowly started to pace around the cats in a circle. "We appreciate your bravery tonight, but we're afraid we can't help you," said Malati, the smaller of the two. "And I'm even more afraid to say that we can't let you leave. It's so rare that we get the sport of moving prey," growled JJ. "And besides, we have our reputation to consider. If we let you go now, we'd never live it down. What if those Asiatic lions got wind of it? You must all die tonight." "Oh dear," whimpered Catface. "That didn't exactly have the desired effect, did it?" Toto, though, knew what she had to do. Yes, the tigers were fast and powerful, but they were also large, and that meant she had two big targets to aim for. But first, she had to get Catface out of harm's way. Remembering her training and clearing her mind, she drew a breath, very slowly exhaled, then moved fast. Before the tigers knew what was happening, she'd picked Catface up by her teeth. She bounced once, twice, off the trees, gaining height, then dropped him next to Silver at the top of the pole. "You'll be safe here, for now, so long as I keep them occupied," Toto said. Before Catface had a chance to ask, "Are you out of your mind?" Toto had leapt off the pole, back into the darkness. "Go get 'em, sis," said Silver, grinning. "Just watch this," he said to Catface. Toto knew the tigers were down there somewhere, but when she hit the ground she couldn't see any sign of them. "Impressive little one," she heard one of them saying through the long grass, "but your efforts will be in vain. We are too big and too powerful." Luckily, when you're a blind ninja cat and someone you're about to fight uses words like big and powerful to describe themselves, it also means that they're proud, and their pride means they think they can't be beaten. Big mistake. As one of the tigers charged out of the undergrowth, Toto could sense exactly where the danger was coming from. She crouched with her back to the tree, and, just as the tiger's massive jaws were about to close around her, she somersaulted into the air and onto a low branch. Malati crashed helplessly into the tree below Toto, knocking herself clean out. "One down, one to go," thought Toto, as she lowered herself to the ground. JJ's shadow emerged from the undergrowth. "Very good, young lady, you are fast. But how will you fare in one-to-one combat? There's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide." "No," thought Toto, "but there are plenty of places to leap." Just as the larger tiger went for her, she sprang off the ground and onto another branch. JJ snarled and reached up, but once more Toto was too fast. She knew how she could beat him. Every time he swiped at her with his enormous claw, which could have cut her in two. Toto heard him just in time to jump out of the way. "Ah, come here, you little furball. I'll tear you limb from limb," JJ snarled. Toto could tell the tiger was getting tired and frustrated. She knew her chance was coming. As the tiger overreached with another tired swipe, she sensed a gap in his defences and launched herself at his big, pink nose with all of her strength and speed, digging her claws in. "Ow! That's not fair," whined the tiger, clutching his nose. Okay, you win. Ow, it really hurts. I hope the zookeeper has some cream to put on it." Toto was stunned. JJ had turned into a sulky kitten. "So, you give in?" she said. "Yes, of course. I've never actually been scratched before. Why did you have to be so nasty?" "Well, maybe because you were trying to eat me," said Toto. "I'll tell you what you want to know if you promise not to scratch me again," said JJ. "Okay with me," said Toto. JJ went over to Melati just as she was shaking her head and coming to. Both tigers turned to Toto and started making the strangest noises and rolled onto their backs. "What are they doing?" whispered Toto. Catface smiled as he climbed down from the pole with Silver. "I do believe they are chuffing. It sounds almost like a snort, and it's what tigers do when they want to purr like you. I mean, like us. I think, my friend, they want their tummies tickled." The cats looked at each other and shrugged. "It beats getting torn limb from limb," said Silver, "and they are royalty." Cautiously, Toto, Silver and Catface made their way over to the tigers. They began rubbing their bellies, and unbelievably the tigers loved it. "Oh, yes, lovely. Left a bit, right a bit, just there," purred JJ. "Well then," said Catface after about 5 minutes of tickling, "this is getting a tad awkward now, so if you could just tell us where Brian was going, we'd best be on our way." "Oh, do you have to go? Just one last scratch?" "Oh, well, Brian said he was heading to the sewers near the canal," said JJ. "He said he had some business down there." "Oh dear," said Catface, looking pale. It was obviously not what he wanted to hear. "There's not a minute to lose." The cat started to leave, but the tiger stopped them. "We're sorry," JJ said to Toto. "You may be a commoner, but you truly are a warrior, and you may pass this way whenever you choose." "Thank you," said Toto. "Just one thing, though. Please try to remember that you should care about all animals, rare or common." "You're right, of course. We'll try. By the way, we'd really appreciate it if, you didn't mention this to anyone. It's just that we've got a fearsome reputation to live up to, and this losing a fight to a small cat thing might not go down too well. Deal?" "Deal," said Toto. "Yeah, deal," said Silver, "but I'm taking this bit of deer with me." As the three cats padded off, the tigers looked at each other in disbelief. "Who was that?" said JJ. "Her name is Toto," Silver turned and called back. "She's my sister. She's blind, and she's the incredible ninja cat of Camden Town. Don't you forget it." Toto looked at her brother and smiled. She'd never admit it, but she kind of liked the sound of that. And so Toto, Silver and Catface strutted out of the zoo toward the sewers on the trail of the deadliest snake in the world, but not before Silver had picked up an ice cream, of course. So there you go, children. The end of chapter 5. And tomorrow we'll start with chapter 6. But today's task, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to do some research about tigers. Where do they come from? How endangered are they? And what are people doing to help them? Okay, thanks a lot. Keep safe. Bye-bye.